On a more positive note now, a report spearheaded by Professor Wally Serote, well known for his passion for indigenous knowledge systems, has unearthed alternative ways of curbing violence in society. The African Primary Institution's report says going back to basic African ways is key. The study further reveals that strengthening ties among members of extended families could help reduce incidences of violence dominating society. One of the researchers on the study, Matlhako Mahapa, joins me now to give further details on their findings. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us on ANN7.
Good morning, Karabo. How are you?
I'm very well. Let's talk about, the concept of family or extended family has been on the decline. Are people losing a sense of what an extended family means in society, or are we moving towards a more nuclear family for everybody?
I think we've moved towards a very nuclear family, towards the family, which is really leading to us losing our African way of life. And African way of life simply means the way that we are used to community systems that we grew up in, because the growth of the nuclear family is teaching you that, look, your mom, your dad, your siblings, that's where it stops. Whereas in our culture and in our history, it's your mom, your dad, their in-laws, your siblings, your cousins. We are all one family. And when you understand that, you understand the oneness and the unity and where the concept of Ubuntu really comes from in our history.
When we talk about over the years, we've seen how extended family helps the family economically. Is that one of the things that you've seen in the research, where sometimes having an extended family sort of benefits everybody economically when we're talking about finances?
Definitely. I think what we're losing is that economic system refers to the way that a community lives and sustains itself. And what we're seeing now is that with this European way of doing things, that we're losing our African touch, is that we are losing the sustainability in it. Now, we think economy, we're thinking money, we're thinking the dominant capitalist system, whereas if you think back into our history, the economy refers to the way that the family used to do things in that specific community, where we lived in a rendezvous, the young kids had a role to play, the adults had a role to play, the mom, the dad had a role to play in order for us to sustainably survive and lead a happy life.
Do you think that young people, or perhaps children, are losing, you're starting to lose the true value of family benevolence?
We definitely are, and I think as iARi that leads to a lot of the social ills that we have in our communities, because we lose a sense of respect and humility that is taught to us by our family and by our upbringing. And that's one of the reasons why, as iARi was saying, you need to start from the family, because that is the primary institution that nurtures you and turns you into the kind of person that you are, because that institution assigns various roles and responsibilities to you that teach you how to survive and how to deal with certain issues in the community and as you grow up.
Do you perhaps think that, in extended families, can we see, how do we, in your research, you were talking about iARi, what have you guys done in terms of tackling the decline of the extended family, or the idea of it?
You see, like, the research is very much in its preliminary stages, and the first stage that we opted to do was, let's find out what this African primary institution is. Let's find out what the extended family actually is. And we found that the extended family, it refers to various institutions that exist in indigenous knowledge systems which make us who we are in terms of our culture and the path that we have walked. And what we have found is that this institution is maintained by institutions of Boroshi, which is chieftaincy, and institutions of traditional healers, because the traditional healers are that institution that still exists today that can link us to our past and where we come from, because the way that we're supposed to live is we walk in the path of those that have walked before us. Personhood and spirituality in African terms refers to exactly that, learning from what my ancestors have done, appreciating the gifts that they've given to me, and using that for the betterment of my people.
What do you say to the people sitting at home who think that extended families something that no longer, should live in society, or it's really futile, because at the end of the day we all become obsolete?
It's a simple concept of, look, firstly, get to know your history, because that'll start by showing you that, the mindset that we're in is completely wrong. Get to know your history and look into your family. Start taking things seriously, like isithakazelo sakho, your praise poetry in our culture. Get to know, seriously, go to your grandmother, sit with your grandmother and say, let's talk about your history, and start appreciating the beauty that's going to come from that. And that is when you'll start seeing that, look, I've actually been living in a world that's not me, and that doesn't define who I am, and that is leading to a lot of ills that my people face. Poverty is a very important problem that we're dealing with right now. And when we talk about development, one of the things iARi is saying is that understand where you come from, understand African communal systems, understand the concept of the African primary institution, which is the African family that is based in the concept of the extended wider communal family. And when we start from there is when we can actually start coming up with like effective ways to redress poverty and come up with sustainable ways of the betterment of our people.
How has the extended family played a significant role in sort of shaping the true meaning of what family is?
You know, the concept of Ubuntu that is everywhere, the concept of the rainbow nation, that is where it comes from. The concept of Ubuntu comes from studying how as Africans we lead. And once you learn the lessons that comes with that is when you start understanding that the African family itself is an institution of learning that presents the most important and crucial way for us to start by saying, look, development needs to start from home. There's a whole, I'm a development researcher by profession, and we're talking about grassroots development. So we're saying start from home, start from understanding where you come from, start from understanding your family, and then you'll know how we do things. And then from there on is when we'll come up with sustainable ways of living and the betterment of our future.
And yes, we will.
And yes,
Matlhako, thank you so much for your time. That's a researcher on the study of extended family, Matlhako Mahapa, unpacking the importance and the concept of extended family in South Africa and Africa as a whole.